that this podcast, we usually have a spotlight each week, and we're trying to do that again. We used to have it a lot. Now we're bringing that back. And it is the dip your toe in the, in the pool type of deal. So you can get an idea of what we're all about if you haven't listened or you have been intimidated by the size, Eric. The size. Galooly, John Wayne Bobbitt, Eric. And so I think, though, that this, are you with me here? I think that this podcast is actually going to turn into kind of a dip your toe into full podcast. You're going to get a full range of things. There's only 4 books that we're doing tonight and a male. And that's not a male section, Eric. That's a male. It seems as I'm talking right now. What's that?
I'm a male.
Oh, you are? Yeah, I didn't know that. That's nice to know there, buddy boy. But yeah, so we're going to do 4 books here. And
nobody ever cheers for Eric.
You know what's actually, I'm going to say the dip the toe in. It may not be fully dip the toe in because I kind of like all these books. So it's not going to really be, what
get
usually
everybody
happens.
On the trolley with what's happening, where we really enjoy the books, right?
That's what happens all the time, right? We're always doing this. But we're going to start. It's a weird section, too, this first section. Usually we start with some kind of given books, but we don't have them this week. So what are we starting with, Eric?
They were all taken by the Patreon spotlight, but we're going to start out with Teen Titans number 31, written by Adam Glass with art by Bernard Chang, Marcel Mayo, and Rob Leigh. Daddy's home, which means that Crush and the rest of the Teen Titans better watch out because Lobo's taken out everyone who gets in his way now that the other has put a bounty on the main man's estranged daughter.
Yeah, there you go. Short and sweet, just like me.
Short and sweet.
The thing about this is we haven't got a lot of Lobo since Steve Orlando's JLA. He kind of went off there. Probably to
you
go
don't need a lot of Lobo.
Probably to go hang with the Space Dolphins, Eric, is what he usually is. And somewhere right now in York, PA, the band Live are making that song right now, the Space Dolphins. But yeah, so we haven't had it. So coming into this, they always cry. Having him come in here, Live. When he shows up here, if for some reason you thought that your main man was the one from the JLA, which Steve Orlando didn't do an awful job. What Steve Orlando, and even since then, he even talked to Hussein a little about that, and Hussein talked to us about it in the Slack and things, that he was kind of handcuffed with Lobo. They made him also put in Batman as well. Like, he wanted a different team. But what he did with Lobo was kind of cool, where he ended up being friends with Ryan Choi. He ended up trying to fit in a little more than a Lobo usually would have, but it was because he had a debt to Batman, and he kept bringing it up. The idea that some of these reviewers out there now are like, oh man, this ruins what Steve Orlando does. No, it does not. It doesn't at all. Lobo left that book. Well, Lobo left that book to go back to do his things. We've seen him since in Action Comics,
main man
where he was Lobo.
Yeah.
He's main man. That's what he is. And to think that you can accept the idea of what Steve Orlando did in his book and say, well, it's not the normal Lobo, but hey, everybody gets to do what they want to do with a character, and then diss this, it really angers me. It actually upsets me because you can't play both sides of the game here. You can't play tennis all alone against a wall. But you can, Eric, because I used to do that.
I can,
I was lonely. I know. I don't know.
Yeah, you didn't have friends.
I don't know why I brought that wall in.
You had no friends, but and I had a racket. It was the weirdest thing.
The weirdest thing, I had a racket, the balls, and I would hit the ball against the wall. The wall left, Eric. The wall. It took off. It didn't want to play with me.
You just kind of swung and pretended you had balls.
Well, the funny thing is, I've been told this week twice that I didn't have balls, so I don't need to hear it from
some family you got there.
But yeah, so with this, how'd you know it's my family? With this, we did
tell
have
anybody else, and I didn't say it.
We have Crush, and her big thing is that she wants to kind of meet up with her father, and she wants to find him. Now, this is where the thing is here is he's going to find her. And don't think that if you haven't been reading Teen Titans, or maybe a lot of people might have jumped in, with the Terminus agenda possibly. So don't think that Crush ever wanted to see her father for any good reasons. She wants to go.
She wanted to kill him.
Yeah, kill him, at the least beat the crap out of him. She is mad. She's furious. She also, in my mind, the way it's played out with Adam Glass, she also just hates the idea that everywhere, it's almost, I'm telling you, it's a Michael Jackson thing. She looks in the mirror. She sees Lobo. I mean, it's obvious. And also everybody judges her.
The Lobo in the mirror.
The Lobo in the mirror. Oh! she ends up probably being judged by a lot of people. And so she wants to really, she wants to kill him, like you said. Now,
she's tired of walking around the street and everybody saying, "Hey, look at that juggalo," and then how dare you? I'm done with this.
Yeah, really. She's like, yeah, and they keep trying to give her Faygo. She's like, I've told them I don't like Faygo. I don't care if the streets will run red with the Faygo. But yeah, so with this going on, I like the twist a bit where we thought that Crush was going to, go through all of this to try to find Lobo. Now, I do think that what Adam Glass is doing, and like I said, I think it's actually a clever way. You could end up trying to find Lobo for, a year and never finding him. The only other way that I thought that you would get this, which maybe it'll even kind of be a weird roundabout way that's a little bit of a twist, but you would end up finding Lobo by making a hit, kind of getting him and paying him for a hit and then going where it was. And that's kind of cliche. We've seen that so many times. So instead, you end up tying in what Red Arrow is also Speedy. What am I saying? Emiko is up Red to Arrow, as well. Yeah, Red Arrow. When I said Red Arrow, it seemed weird. It didn't seem right. With Emiko has been trying to find the other. So you're kind of getting the beginning of, two birds with one stone here.
We're back to the other at this point, which it seems like this dead plot that just keeps coming back to life every now and again.
But this kickstarts both, right?
Agreed.
I think,
I'm happy to get back to
that.
the other because that's what we started this series off with. Adam Glass behind it, the idea: new new Teen Titans, new villain, the other. We got to get behind this, but it keeps getting interrupted. And I'm like, all right, we got Crush on the team. She wants to find Lobo. Then if the other goes and puts a bounty out on Crush from him, I'm like, this works out for me because even like
I really
the
like
idea
that
of Crush
idea.
wanted to find her father, and that's why she joined the team because Robin's going to help her. I don't know how that would have played out, or if we would have gotten something that I would have liked.
This is why I like this better,
or anything like that, or like how Lobo would act with the idea that he is just the main man out on a bounty and willing to get the job done no matter what, because that's who he is. I'm like, that works for me. I think
it works really out a lot too because of the idea. Like I said, that's the whole thing to me. It's it kind of speeds things up and gets back. We're done the Terminus agenda. We get a mention of the dungeon a little, but we're kind of past, and we have these characters like a Crush and a Roundhouse, and
it really puts a pause on things out of nowhere from Kid Flash. Like,
I think
we
that
gotta go get this.
Kind of
ain't running the show no more, Robin. No dungeons. I'm like, we don't have time for this, Kid Flash. Please.
Well, and what I'm glad about this is I don't think we have a lot of time to spend, 7 issues trying to find Lobo when we have the other out there, where we have the idea that Roundhouse, we want to find out what happened to his sister, things like that. So kind of melding them all in, and it makes sense because
Lobo Jen's crazy brother.
Yeah. Lobo ends up getting this, bounty. And he ends up getting a bounty. So you get, what is a cold open to give you the idea. If you don't know the main man, if you don't know what he's about, it does a good, thing with it where he shows up at this, in the Bronx in this corner mini mart thing. And I laugh because he likes the lime chili pork rinds, one of my least favorite flavors. I hate the lime chili. I really don't. I actually have recently tried the salt and vinegar pork rinds, which
delicious.
I
loved it so much.
Actually, those were the ones that really, really got me. It impressed me, and it was one of those.
I got a bunch of different bags the other day, and I was very sad when I ran out of the salt and vinegar pork rinds.
It's funny too because when we were talking this week, we were talking about ice cream while we were working, and I said that back in the day. I told my dad that my dad was a huge cookie dough ice cream guy. He was a huge guy, but he loved cookie dough ice cream.
Probably because you like cookie dough ice cream so much.
Because it kind of just came about when I was a kid. That wasn't out. They were getting a little fancy with the flavors. I mean, as I was a kid.
The future is here.
Oh, my God. Neapolitan or nothing for me. I'm old school. But yeah, you got that. And I said to my dad the one day, he's like, oh, I'm telling you, just imagine him just going to town. Like, he can barely talk. He's shoving this, cookie dough ice cream. And I said, Daddy, why don't they have a peanut butter cookie dough or a sugar cookie? And his exact quote, which I told you, don't jinx it. Like, he thought that I was going to ruin it for him.
Oh, my God.
But
I thought that you've ruined everything else in my life, little Jimmy. Don't you dare talk about this.
They ended up getting the chocolate chip cookie dough, and nobody thought, like, that was so mind-bending that you couldn't go, that was already outside the box. You can't go outside the box. And I thought once I saw the different flavors of pork rinds, because pork rinds are something, if you're on an all, ketone diet, it is one of the only crunchy snacks that you can have. And so you kind of like that crunch, and I don't. I love pork rinds. I'm not, embarrassed to say it. But when I saw these flavors, like especially, like I said, salt and vinegar, but they always had like a barbecue kind of, and this, even the lime chili, I thought, boy, like, why didn't they come up with this sooner? It seemed like it's made to be.
We didn't have
just
the
like
technology back then, Jim. Come on. Flavoring things with crazy ideas like
lime chili pork rinds. I mean, how could they ever get that lime chili dust to actually situate itself onto the pork rind?
We spent all our money putting a man on the moon, and you want to talk about snacks?
Yeah, really. That is true. You know that I read a thing. I was working on maybe another Patreon podcast of random quotes and random facts, actually, not quotes. And do you know that we ended up putting a man on the moon before somebody figured out to put wheels on luggage? Isn't that crazy? That you didn't have wheels on luggage until a year and a half after we put a man on the moon.
Advanced. People's minds advanced.
It was Area 51. I know it. It was all the alien
put the
technology.
Wheels on the luggage.
The aliens came down. Damn right that they had wheels on their luggage. That alien came out. He was pulling that luggage behind. Back to the issue, Eric. Lobo goes in and he ends up seeing that this guy, Kanjar Ro had sent him on a bounty to get this guy. And it's a pretty cool progression where this guy is very, very Men in Black. It's main man in black.
The way it starts out with a guy at a freaking convenience store who turns out to be a Dorian, the race of the Kanjar Ro and whatnot. The idea that he just has a skin over him and Lobo just comes in looking for snacks and blows up the entire store before this guy reveals, I got that complete Men in Black feel at this point.
Yeah.
All right, this is fun.
Man in Black would have been my
Man in Black.
Would that be good? That would have been a really good title.
So good.
Yeah,
but it's such a little aspect to the rest of the issue.
It is. It's nothing to do with. I like when the guy's like, "Hey, you better get out of here. I'm from the boogie down." I'm like, "Oh, BDP." But yeah, so he's like, "You."
Down too.
He's like, "You dumb bastard." He pulls out his gun and he's like, "I'm going to take care of you." And like you said, it gives you the idea, and a very good idea, that Lobo, he's on Earth. He's going to go and do his thing. He does not care about collateral damage. He doesn't care about property damage. He doesn't care about anything. He's going to do what he has to do. I think that's a very good setup.
I'm telling you, my favorite part of this whole beginning, though, is when he is doing this. He's going through the store, picking up snacks, and he goes to this guy, who's a Dorian in disguise, and he's like, he pulls a shotgun at him. You ain't going to get me, and then shoots all the snacks in Lobo's hand instead of shooting him. And they're still looking down at the crumbled pork rinds, like, you dumb bastard.
I'm telling you, when he did that,
I want to see an animation of this.
It's funny too. When he did that, it reminded me of when that guy in Pulp Fiction comes out of the bathroom. He starts shooting, and then they just look at themselves and then shoot him. But yeah, I really liked that beginning. I really did. And then he gets a call for his next bounty, and Lobo, he don't like the downtime. He's just going to go and get the new bounty, and they're like, "Hey, the new bounty."
He's a main man on a mission.
It's these Teen Titans, and he's like, "Hey, I don't do boy bands. Take a hike." And he's like, "No. I just kind of put a ton of money in your account.
Triple your rate."
There's this girl there in this team who claims that she's your daughter. And that's a good twist here. Again, it's not the, hey, this is your daughter, go get her or whatever. He's mad because he's the last Zarian. He's pissed off. This is his thing. He's killed
all his other kids.
And his other kids are all dead. So he's like, no, this can't be. So he takes it, and then you get the big dan. He's like, "What am I supposed to call you, sugar daddy?" And he's like, "You may address me as the other." And I'm like, "All right, now we're going. This is a really good
back in business."
Go. Yeah, and so it really amazes me that
and now that we spent so much time
for weird reasons
on that couple of pages for that cold opening,
we spent 20 minutes talking about that. Yeah, the rest of the issue is a fight.
The rest of the issue, there's not much. As freaking Lobo is just broken in the Mercy Hall and tears apart the Teen Titans while Crush says, "I'm going to kill you" over and over again, while getting the crap beat out of her. While everybody tries to help, but we are not a cohesive team at this point when it comes to a person such as Lobo, because he is tearing them apart.
And I think that the idea of this too is you have this little bit in the background as well that I'm getting is they were at one point, they were kind of getting to be almost a well-oiled machine. Not as much as the ski team and Better Off Dead, Eric, but close. But they were getting that.
Or the ski team and Ski School.
Yeah, because of the Terminus agenda, and because they're so mad at Damien, and because the team is in a little shambles, this is what I like. I don't like the bickering. I don't like the, and that's like you said.
So really, what you're saying is we need to get Kid Flash off this team right now because he's going back to his whining.
He only has that, so he's never going to change it up.
I want his character to evolve so much and they just keep relying on that aspect of him to go back to. I'm like, stop it. Look, how many more issues do you think it's going to be? We're at 31 right now, where Kid Flash stops talking about the dungeon.
106, I think. Yeah, so instead of the bickering, show me that the team is not ready for anything. And this is anything. Lobo showing up is out of the blue. They don't realize. So
that's a big deal.
This is where you're going to see a team that if something out of the blue happens where Lobo breaks into Mercy Hall, they don't have time to plan. They don't have them sitting, okay, you two go here, you go there, whatever. He just breaks in. So you see here in plain deal with the art as well, not just being told, you see that they are not a team right now because they're in disarray. They're in disarray. And even you have the
David's got one good eye right now.
Yeah, really. And even with the dungeon part, it just kind of, that is okay being brought up for me just because of the idea that is distracting Kid Flash. I don't like whiny Kid Flash, but that is distracting. But I do love when he comes and he grabs
him bringing it up actually wants me. I'm telling you, it makes me want to think, though, did he let the rest of those villains go, or are they still down there?
They must still be down there, I guess. I don't know.
It's weird.
You have Lobo there. He comes in, and there's no, watching him go to Mercy Hall. You're right in the middle of the battle. So it goes right in. You're just going to have a battle the rest of the time. But I like when you have them all react and you have, Damian whips out, a Batarang, they're going to go. I love the idea that Roundhouse is one of the first to kind of really try to do something. He tries to break a chair over the back of Lobo. And it's like,
that's
so
the
funny.
Thing is, the way it was played out at this point, too, it did almost seem like a wrestling match. So when he came out of nowhere and broke a chair over his back, I'm like, I'm like, why does this feel like so much like wrestling?
Now,
for some reason, I was actually reading all of Lobo's lines like Randy Macho Man Savage.
It's Randy Macho Man? That's what I need now.
So when Roundhouse went and hit him with the chair, I'm like, it is a wrestling match. Oh my, this is great.
The best is, why couldn't there have been one of the older heroes? I know Batman would be a little extreme, but just say Barry Allen had gone there because Kid Flash had called him.
Baby girl is how we're going to
at that point,
have a family reunion.
Just imagine if Barry was there and he got knocked out. He was like kind of the ref, and then they start using illegal items. That's when Roundhouse hits him. Like a Roundhouse, oh boy, he gets hit, and they're all getting smacked around. At one point, Lobo just punches Kid Flash and Emiko, and they're going at it. I love the idea too that Damian kind of gets past. He ducks, he's going, but then Lobo grabs him, and again, like a wrestling move, he grabs Damian and Roundhouse and smashes them into each other. If only there could have been something to have ropes. Have that. Also, you have Lobo doing the Hulk Hogan listening to the crowd.
Ooh, forgot how much
it's pretty much
kids.
all that. So what happens then? He's kind of going, and Lobo does end up realizing that Crush is on the up and up. That is Crush. So we get something. I never thought that Crush wasn't his daughter.
Well, that's all you ever have to do. If you're ever worried about if somebody is your child or not, all you got to do is pick them up by the neck, get them close, and smell them. And like Lobo, you too will know if this is your child or not.
The other day, I really, Rafe has been, me and Rafe have been kind of battling a little lately, and he's not very nice to me. So I thought, you know what, maybe he's not my son. So I went and sniffed him, and he stunk. So I said, yeah, you're my boy. You have B.O.
Yeah.
And that's how I did it. That's how I did it. I'm just like Lobo. I'm like, yeah, it smells like you wash those clothes in the shower.
Some do with laundry, some do with kids.
And then I'm looking, I'm like, hey, look at you. You got shorts on and a hoodie, and it's very hot out. You're my son. Come here, boy. So they're attacking each other. Jin comes to save everybody and kind of puts, I guess is trying to show Lobo maybe how upset Crush is. You know what I mean? Because she ends up sending her into Crush's room with pretty much the Lobo wall of destruction,
the
of how much kill or be killed.
Lobo wall.
And Lobo's just like, someone's a little obsessed. Like Lobo here he's not caring about dolphins crying here. Lobo is there for a bounty. He's going to do it. And again, I think that you have to kind of get past this idea that Lobo, is a good guy now. This is the main man. Yeah, I think it's a little over the top that he's going after kids and things like that. But it's Lobo. He's doing it. I think there's going to be a twist though anyway. But yeah, so as he's like, he's kind of intrigued of Jin being a genie, but as that Lobo knows what to do.
The idea that he's actually gone against genies before this and killed a few. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool too. The idea of he's already done this. I'm like, okay, that's a new aspect for me. Lobo, he'd been there, he'd done that, boy.
Yeah, I like it too. I hope one of them isn't mean Genie Okerlund. I mean, that would really upset me. But he ends up getting she goes to attack him, and he ends up getting a mirror. And gives her the whammy back, and he knows what to do. And so if you want action, I mean, this is all this is. He's grabbing, Crush by the hair. He ends up at one point.
All this and throws Crush out of Mercy Hall all the way to a freaking train station. This is where all these defunct trains. I'm like, and we get out of Mercy Hall. We just continue the fight there between Crush and Lobo. And I like the one idea too is like, hey, I'm going to bring Obelisk. Crush's chain. She's like, no, don't do that because
she's afraid.
This came from Lobo. I can't lose this thing again. I love it so much. I can't think that Lobo might be able to control it more than I can. So to say that, I'm like, well, that's a cool aspect because we only had that one real issue dealing with Obelisk when we got it back.
I actually forgot about it.
I'd like to see more of this.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the whole thing. We're not dealing enough with these 3 new characters, and I like them a lot. And I do like the fact that we're finally getting into it. We have dealing with Crush and Lobo right now and the different aspects of these characters. Like I said before, there's even not even this, but Jin's brother. But it even says in this issue where Roundhouse says, I tried to transform into something squishy. I'm like, I still don't understand your powers, Roundhouse.
Yeah, but I hope that when we deal with your sister as well. And why I like this is, we're taking an aside. We're taking an aside with Crush, but this isn't like a lot of times you'll have these issues where it'll be like, Crush, daddy issues, and then it'll just be Crush going off. She'll start the issue and go, hey, smell you guys later. I'm going to go and figure things out. And you get the whole team here. Like you said, just that idea that Roundhouse says that about it kind of gets you like, oh man, I want to know more about you too. You have the other thrown in that is an Emiko deal that will end up going. And then you also have Lobo picking up a train and smashing it on Crush. And I like the idea too. He's like, you think you're my daughter, whatever, let's see this healing factor in play. And then he realizes, okay, you are, but you only a half, Zarni, and you're not going to be as tough as me. Like a half does not beat
Which is the weird thing because Well, that's the whole thing, because a lot of times when you have a situation like this, whether it be like John Kent or it's something from Dragon Ball Z, where you have a half Saiyan, half human, for some reason, even when you're
they usually John super Kent, dupers it.
Exactly. For some reason, that becomes super duper. They're even stronger than the original. I'm like, well, why is that not the case for Zardians? Come on, Crush, get up, girl. Get up.
I always think that they just end up doing it because it's a legacy thing, and they have to up the ante so that you accept this character. It makes no sense. The best, actually, this I like, but the best play of it was in the Adventures of Super Sons when we saw that the older John ended up getting fat because of his human side. Now that was metabolism. Good. But yeah, so as this is going on, it's just like you said, it's just a big fight. Lobo has, the catchphrase, "Daddy's home." He's, you can run, little girl, but you can't hide. And then at the end, he ends up in a disgusting deal, tasting her blood so they can get her set. And I'm like, but yeah. And then maybe, Eric, for one of your favorite deals here, then he hits the space hump.
All right.
And goes off because luckily he's about to kill Crush, and that's when Wallace comes in.
Just stomp her head in. Thank God Kid Flash did something good here.
It looks like she's still really having some problems. And this is part 1 of 2, so we're going to get the next issue. And and it's the main man cometh.
The next issue of Daddy Issues?
Daddy Issues, yes. And I think
the main man cometh?
This was fun. This was a fun issue that you get the main man, which we don't get a lot of, but it also gives you little things for each of the characters, including, like we said, we can get upset about it, but at least there was something about that dungeon, so that's thrown in. He's giving you a issue of a fight, but we're getting these little snippets of things that intrigue me and that keep going and things like that. And I would love to have Lobo kind of in the next issue kind of realize that maybe he shouldn't be going this far and maybe help them out. I don't know. And maybe get involved with this.
I mean, just imagine.
I know, but just imagine, since you did have Lobo in the Justice League of America book of Steve Orlando, and he kind of, teamed up a little with Ryan Choi and gave him some advice and things. I would love to have the issue where Batman finds out that Lobo is guiding his son and the Teen Titans, that they're taking advice from him. It'd be hilarious, but we'll see how it goes.
So I like that better with when I thought thought it was going to be Deathstroke doing that.
Yeah, I'm telling you, though, they needed him to die, Eric. Now it's Lobo. But yeah, I like this. I had fun. I actually think talking about it, I had even more fun with that beginning, and I'm going to go up in my score. I'm going to go on 8-5
in the beginning. It's a great
I'm
going
to go 8-5, and I even told you before we started recording that I had a little problem with the art. Because a lot of the panels were close up. I thought the action didn't play out as well as it could. Looking at it again, I think that was just me going through it the first time. And I think I was just kind of, I admit too, I was in the middle of a nap kind of. I was a little sleepy, Eric. But,
that's the way to read books.
Now that I'm awake and I'm taking my medicine very late today, as always, as the reg, Eric, I'm enjoying this. So I'm going to go 8-5. Yeah, it's the reg, me taking the medicine too late. Can you tell I'm starting to talk really fast?
Yeah.
The medicine is kicking in. Oh my! Do you ever have somebody that is from not our area? We're from the Philadelphia area, and they talk to you, and you're just talking your normal way, and they're like, "Man, you guys talk so fast here." They always say that, and I don't think that's
I don't talk to anybody.
That's true. You talk to me. You're a slowpoke. What would you give it? I'm going 8-5. What would you give it?
I'm sticking with my initial 7.5 out of 10 because while I really enjoyed this issue and the idea that we're moving the Crush story forward with this Lobo, and I like the way it was set up to get there, it was just an over-the-top fight, which was, in my mind, started out just to be a giant wrestling match, which I did love, but it was still a giant fight. The cold opening was great. The art was great. It's just I needed a little bit more out of this. Hopefully we get more for the second issue, the second part of this story dealing with what Crush is going to do with her daddy issues going forward.
Yeah. I just hope Lobo, Eric, did not kill Mean Genie Okerlund. That's what I'm saying, Eric. That's what I'm saying.